Good morning, my friends. How are you all this morning? Can you believe it? We made it halfway. Raise your hand if you thought she was going to pull the plug on this project long before today. And I don't know quite how I want to set this up, but I just will real quick tell you that it is 4th of July for those of you who are in other countries and you say, what's with all the flags? Uh, this is my 1,000 pound challenge. It is me diverting 1,000 pounds that either comes from my kitchen in my house, or I have a neighbor who is giving me his grass clippings and I'm adding that into it. Unfortunately, he didn't show up this week, so it's just me by myself, and so it wasn't a very good week. But just very quickly, I'll tell you that we are diverting all of our fruit and vegetable peels, all of our eggshells, shrimp shells, coffee grounds, tea bags, any leaves from our garden, any branches, we put them through the mower. We put it actually through it twice, our lawnmower, and it breaks it down. And I can add that in 3 places. One, I can add it just as a chop and drop, just lay it down somewhere. Secondly, if I have a pathway. Secondly, I'm trying to keep my weeds down so that I don't have to be out there weeding. I don't buy mulch. I try to create my own by taking, and a weed deterrent by taking cardboard of some sort that I get, and then laying grass clippings on top of that. And that really, it's amazing, that simple thing that you don't think about, that really helps keep down the weeds because it kind of snuffs them out. And then the third thing is, if you're making compost, I just did a 5 or 6 minute video. You can go back and look at it, and it's just adding adding grass clippings and reach in there, shredded cardboard, and adding the two together. You wet it down, but your grass clippings are probably wet when you put them in, and stirring it, with your pitchfork or whatever you have, and doing that occasionally. Do it once a week or so, and after 4, 5, 6 months, depending on your climate, you will have a nice soil compost. And so there's so many things that you can do. I used to just throw my flowers away. Flowers can be weighed and added to the challenge if you so wish. And then things around your house, like do you vacuum? Take the dirt and dust and what have you from your vacuum. Do you sweep? Take all that. When it came from the soil, it can go back into the soil. If you have worms, they will love it. Also, things like cork. I don't know if you know, but these are from a cork tree. And mainly in Spain and Portugal is where cork trees grow. And it takes them, I think it's 30 to 40 years for them to be able to harvest, and then it's every 12 years they actually take big, I want to say saws or razors or something, and they actually go down and take a layer of cork off, and then pop that into corks. So it's an interesting fact. Anyway, popsicle sticks, any of the things that you live with on a day-to-day basis that you throw away can actually be added back into your soil. Of course, there's things that maybe wouldn't be added back into your soil that you could recycle, like your metal cans and what have you. But they're all things that you and I can do to better our environment. And so this is my 1,000 pound challenge, and it is a challenge to me. So all I ask is that you watch the video and hopefully give me a thumbs up, and if you haven't subscribed, give me a chance. So anyway, this is halfway there. I just I'm in shock, probably as much as you are. Uh, but I've been keeping my little day-to-day records, and you get into a pattern, and it wasn't too bad. But the end of our week actually fell on July 1st, and we didn't do great this week because we didn't have Brian's grass. He's been our heavyweight, but we did come up with a respectable 13 pounds 10 ounces. So not too bad. So anyway, we did have I had it somewhere. Um, there we go. We did have 724 pounds before. Uh, 1.3 ounces, and we added the 13.10, 13 pounds, 10 ounces, and we came out with 737 pounds, 11.3 ounces for halfway there. So, I mean, obviously, unless something drastic happens, we're golden. Yeah. So I will kind of like leave that part of it there. I wanted to go through just a couple little things with you that I thought, wow, this is brilliant. And but I wanted to come around and take the thing off and show you. So hang on just one second. Again, I'll say happy 4th of July to everybody. Hold the phone. So here I am back. And this tip comes from Jane over at Rockin' Worms. And she's a little bit, I'm in Central Florida. I'm in Orlando. And she's a little south of me, Lake Okeechobee, I believe. And she raises worms. And she's going to get a business started later in the summer. I think she's thinking something like September. At least she hopes. Anyway, she put out this great idea, and I thought, this is worth sharing. So I hope it's all right, Jane, that I'm sharing your great idea. So here we have, and this is not only recycling, but this is for worm people or for people who want to compost and maybe have an apartment and they really don't want to have the problem of drawing any critters. So here we have frozen, these are banana peels that I have just taken and frozen them because, I mean, if you had a contact and somebody brought, 20 pounds of rotting, of overripe fruit to you, what are you going to do with it? So here's my frozen, and I keep mine in the freezer. And it was just yesterday that I saw this, and so I thought, wow, this is great. And Jane says if you take it and now she makes hers into like a slurry, and then she takes it and puts it in her dehydrator and, lays it on her Silpat, and then she dries it almost like fruit leather. And then she takes that and she crumbles it all up and she puts it back in her NutriBullet and then grinds it up into a powder or something very fine. Now, I just took mine from the freezer and I had full pieces. Like this is a banana peel. You can see that it's still, you see that's a banana peel, right? Okay, so, you can crumble it up, do whatever you wish. My main thing is bananas and strawberries. So here's our strawberry chops. And they crumble really nice. I might need to dehydrate this a little bit more. But what I did this morning is I took some of them and I put them in the I put them in my favorite little NutriBullet. I paid $100 for this. Let's see, probably about 2005. Yeah, about 2005. So we're coming up on it's 18 years old, and I mean, it's been a workhorse. It's been, especially the last couple of years, where I've ground up leaves, I've ground up seeds, I've ground up fruit. It's been great. But anyway, here it is. Here it is ground up. Look at this. Isn't that wonderful? Now, this, I'm not going to eat this. This isn't for me. This is for my worms. But it took, I probably had 3 times this amount. It would have probably been maybe close to a couple pounds of fruit. And it ground it into this little powder. And now I can take this. This is one of those, is it called a desiccant? Where they have it in your vitamin boxes, and they have it in all sorts of things, and it keeps things dry. It pulls the moisture away from it. So I could put that in a container. I could put it in a plastic bag, and I could probably store it on a shelf somewhere. Excuse me. I could store it on a shelf somewhere and wouldn't have to worry about mold forming. And then when I wanted to feed my worms, I could go ahead and just sprinkle that on top. My thought was that my worm bins get very, very wet, especially the 2 that I have outside near my screen. They seem to get a lot of spray from my irrigation. Even though I have them covered with bubble wrap and cardboard, they seem to just like draw in that humidity. I'm in Central Florida. We are humidity high all year long. Even at the height of the day when it is 95 degrees, dew point is over 100 degrees, our humidity is still 58, 60 degrees. So it's very humid out there. But if I would take this and put this in with the worms, it would draw that moisture that's been drawn out, and it would help dry out those castings. So, Jane, I think it's brilliant. Thank you for that great tip. So that's that tip. I think I did mention most things to you. Of course, there's always taking your liquids from your corn, peas, whatever vegetables you have. If you don't get the ones with added salt, I take that now and I just sprinkle that on top of my worms. And I mean, they're down there singing. What can I say? My shrimp, this is the shrimp shells that we also provide for our worms. It adds chitin, whether you add it to your soil or whether you add it to your worms. It is good for them. It is actually good for you too. You could probably soak that in water and use it. And I mean, I think they sell chitin capsules online. I don't know if it's anything different than this, but I think it would be quite safe. Of course, we have our eggshells. I like to grind mine because it gives more surface. You can make a product by weighing this, and if you come up with an ounce of eggshell, then add 10 ounces of vinegar. So it's a 10-to-1 ratio. And then you'll see the bubbles forming, and you're putting this in a glass. And then as the bubbles are coming up, they're breaking down the calcium that's in the eggshell. Put a little breathable, you could use a piece of cloth, or you could use a coffee filter or something like that. Put that over it, and in about 10 days it's ready. It's stopped bubbling and it looks pretty good actually. And then I think it's a tablespoon of the liquid to 4 gallons of water is the ratio. And then you can water your plants, like say your tomatoes or your peppers or any of those calcium seeking plants that would just love that. So either that, or you can give this to your worms, and it adds it's a great grit because they don't have stomachs to chew things up. They don't have that stomach muscle. They have a crop and a gizzard. Here we have our coffee grounds. I've shown you this before. I believe the tea bags on Lipton are totally biodegradable, but I looked up twining once, and this particular Irish breakfast, the bag is not totally biodegradable. It would. I put it in my coffee. I'm sorry. I've put it in with my worms, and it leaves like a skin behind, like a little cellulose skin. And then over here, we have our rice. If you're rinsing your rice, save the water. I've heard that it's great for your hair, or it's great for your skin. A lot of Oriental women, a lot of Indian women use this, and I have to say they have beautiful hair. But if you're not going to, it does have vitamins in it, and add it to your watering can, and then of course cook your rice, but save the water. And a couple last tips: if you are a worm, if you're a worm mama or a worm papa, the cornmeal, I sprinkle this on top of my outside worm bins, and I cover it with bubble wrap. Oh my goodness! The next day, they are just it's pretty much gone. The worms come up and they devour this. They also like Quaker oats. I like to put mine through the blender. It breaks it down faster. If you don't have time, work it in with your fruit, and they will love you for it. Of course, if you have anything stale and you're throwing it away, I mean, you don't have to give them good. Here, kids, you're not going to eat today because the worms have to eat. We don't want any of that. But if you have anything stale in you get down and you're down to the powder of the bag, and you want to clean it out, give it to your worms. By the way, I don't know if you guys know, but these bags that are in here, think about how they keep your cereal nice and fresh. When you're done with this works as a great freezer bag. If you've run out of freezer bags and you think, oh, what am I going to do? You can put it in here and it will stay in your freezer for however long. I use them for garbage. I use them if I have some bones that I'm throwing away, or fat, or something that's going to go into the freezer that isn't going to go out for a few days. I don't want my neighbors having to smell my garbage, and think, oh, boy, they had a turkey last week, didn't they? So I think that's probably it. I think I've shown you everything that I can think of. I hope that you all have maybe a great reason to have a 4th of July, and that you have the opportunity to maybe, thank someone who was in service of their country. Yesterday was Canada Day, so we want to say Happy Canada Day to all of our friends in North America and in Canada and all the provinces of their country. And we are connected, so we are sisters. And but for us in America, I think we take the 4th of July as a very serious holiday, a lot of celebration, but a certain gratitude for the people who fought and gave us our freedom, whether it was War of Independence, or whether it was World War I, II, any of the following. So I hope everyone will just say a prayer for those people who didn't make it through, didn't get back to their families. And I hope you will enjoy your family. And remember, this is 2023 and a half. So we only have 6 months until the end of the year, and 26 weeks more of me coming to you. So take care, everyone. Garden what you've got and have a really blessed day. Bye-bye.